Christianity is one of the very interesting religion. We have one common ground, which is the Bible. We've got one book of life that is uniting us, which is the Word of God. What is interesting is that the same Bible is interpreted by different pastors, apostles, bishops, scholars, anyone, believers, anyone you want to say. As a result, we've got multiple and different doctrines as believers. The truth of the matter is Christianity and uNkulunkulu yedwa, not Jesus mkhulu afuthi yedwa. So we started the Power Hour, not because we wanted to create a division, but we wanted to encourage engagement for people to sit in the one platform and discuss what I think this is how we should worship God, and I think this is how we should be living as Christians. Is to show the world in as much as we've got multiple doctrines or different doctrines, that is why sometimes we turn stones and it's just a bit uncomfortable. At the end of the day, you see us having tea together because what is grounding us is Christ. So I want you to understand as we watch the show, the purpose of the show is to encourage dialogue, create a good spirit amongst believers, and make sure these doctrines that we are following are not divided. There's only one ground, which is the Word of God and I want to tell you we will keep on turning the stones, but we know the center is Christ. As we always say, if Christ is not in the center, Power Hour is not there. Sit back, relax, as we turn more stones. This is Power Hour. I am Pastor Zweli Dlamini. Welcome to Power Hour. Let's start with Ntambama. Siyanibingelela futhi bazalwane. Kule Power Hour. Ziyabuya siphelelwe isikhathi. Ngesonto eliphelile kodwa siyaqhubeka asimile. Welcome back. Greetings to all of our followers, pastors, all the saints that have tuned in. Siyanibingelela ngegama lika Jesu Kristu. Thank you so much for those comments. Siwabonile ziyaphenduka. Miningi bebuze qhamukayo kodwa we continue to turn ama stones. Namhlanje siqethela ingxoxo yethu esayiqala ngesonto eliphelile saphelelwa isikhathi sangakwazi ukuyifaka. So today we are finishing it up with izingcezu zikaNkulunkulu. I want to remind you it's a show about Christians, made by Christians and also made for Christians. Moibuga, you are free to watch it, but was good Christ is always the center to everything that we are doing. So moilaleleke ungaofendeki mawusuza sesikhuluma into ezikuthintayo. My views expressed on the show have nothing to do with the show myself as well as the church that I represent, but these are individual views, as we know that everyone has a right to express themselves. Now I invite you to express yourself. Lapha kuma comments, send us those messages and those voice notes. Sizukuthi uthini wena ukuze itopic yethu iqhubeke iye phambili. Sivaleke ziphenduka kuthiwa there is a possibility ukuthi uMapostle Paulus wayekade eshadile. Sozwa ke siyaqhubeka nayo le ndaba ziyashisa izinto. Ake Jensi siyaqhubeka. Ni right ni ready? Hayi lungeni ngiyabonga kahle. Apostle nginizwile nithi ke senichazile le nto angifuna ukubuyela khona emuva esikhulumile ngayo earlier on. But then there's this question. Ukuthi ibandla abazalwane refers to amakhosikazi abo as ubambo. Athi umuntu ubambo lwami. Ubambo lwami. Beyithatha lento ngoba uNkulunkulu walalisa uAdam. Then wakhipha ubambo kwasephuma uEva.
Yeah.
Manje ingxakeke mina ngoba ma ushuthi khona abantu abanobambo lilahlekile ngoba ma ubambo lakhe unkosikazi wakhe oqala shuthi bahlukane shuthi uhambe nobambo lakhe lo wesi2 naye wakade shade nomunye. I think iziphambene imbambo manje. Apostle Shezi awubona ukuthi njengamanje kunobambo else Europe zikhobile imbambo njengamanje ngoba ku twisten ngoba phela ubambo lwakhe. Kodwa manje sebehlukene usewakasithole usithole uhleli nobambo labuthelezi. Ayi kune solid bidani ngisabayo la kwenzakalani?
Cha siba ake sibonge nanamhlanje futhi sibabingelela again ababukeli nabalaleli bePower Hour. Namhlanje ngiyazi ukuthi ngolesithathu lolu lidlule.
Yes.
hayi kwaba confused abanye kwanzima kodwa ke into emnandi ukuthi iqiniso lezwi likaNkuluNkulu it doesn't matter ukuthi ulizwa for the first time but you do need the truth. Let's come back to what we are talking about. Kahle iqiniso siba lento yobamba into engekho no into engekho ake ngenze isibonelo yazi kufana nani ake ngenze simple analysis yabo umuntu oqala uAdam wakwa ngodaka wathatha udaka manje akusho naso khomba udaka namanje angithi phela lapho God was creating after creation we are made ngoba i-creation yenzeka once yabo yenzeka only once at the beginning. It doesn't mean everything that happens after it's also on the creation. Remember ukuthi njoba kukhulunywa ngombaba ngaleso sikhathi there was no one before that. Yabo it was a creation that was happening. Yabona thereafter ake ngenze a simple example uJesu wenze analysis ngelinye ilanga ukuthi kwakukhona umuntu owashada yabona abesethi indoda yakhe yashona wabo washada omunye wabo washona washada omunye washada abesethi ke uzoboka abani babe kwinfethi kwakubuza abantu bethi kwakubuza abaFarisees bethi then uzoboka abani wabesethi uJesu you don't understand abesethi ngale bafana ingelosi angithi they wouldn't make an analysis of something that did not exist. It was something that existed at that time that could existed also that was possible to exist. Yabo so uma kunjalo imbambe engakhi lezo yabona vele njoba sikhuluma nange-divorce yabo ngoba angithi vele you permit let's assume ukuthi mhlawumbe some died whatever we believe yabo and then abayashada umuntu imbambe engakhi lezo uyayibona lento leyo intombambo futhi into engekho imbambo lasetshe sokuqaleni kwakusa create after that intombambo into engekho. Now beside the doctrine can't be built on one incident that happens at the beginning.
Okushuthi yafana no better half. Mhlawumbe.
No into abantu leyo itemu nje labantu into engekho ka. No into engekho.
It's half.
No into engekho nje.
It's better.
No into engekho.
It's not whole but it's half is better.
No into engekho nje esetshenziswa abantu.
So wafu kanje wafu nithi lento.
No nembamba zikho.
No nalento wafu ukuthi wafu kaBishop no wafu umkakhe into ehlangene.
No into engekho nje. Izinto ezikhulunywa abantu nezenziwa abantu kodwa into engekho ngisho umuntu angamaphambili athi nanti ubhambo lwami into engekho nje. Phela makunjalo nje ngabe nedivorce ayikho ngoba zingakho imbambo engabe ziyonakala but ke into esetshenziswa abantu kodwa it doesn't mean ukuthi ikhona nokuthi iya exista ayikho ngokwezwi.
Futhi uPaul lento ayichazayo I'm happy ukuyizwa ngoba creation formed made amagama athula wangafani. Even naku Hebrew awafani noma uthi uyawaestablish awafani. Asithathe a typical example phela masikhuluma ngobhambo ukuthi uAdam noEva kwakhisha ubambo kanjani. Ake sithatha siyeke kwe-divorce ukuthi mayidivorce umuntu usingaka imbamba asikhulume ngokufa ngifelwa unkosikazi. Kusho ukuthi mase ngana omunye
yahamba ubambo lesibili.
Shubona imbaba engakhi.
Still it doesn't make sense but
wena uzu2 eziphumayo manje ngoba uAdam kwakhisho li1.
No isithembu mayina amakhosikazi awu11 shuthi lo muntu wafenge
namambo. Ingakho ke sigcina ngosivumelana ukuthi lento obamba yikho. Singeke sime ngaleyo.
Sisho lapho sifike kanjani
with one incident or one verse. It's not right.
So, in other words, Doc, this what we are discussing is now relevant to divorce. So in other words, uma singakwazi ukuthi sifundise sisho ukuthi into yobambo ayikho. You know, it's relating because iyona into ebebamba abantu ukuthi angishadile because uba ngilinde ubani ubambo lami ngilinde uthi ashona. I think I met a woman that refused ukushada imshado ifika because ulinde ukuthi umyena azashone. This thing of scripture, not understanding the background, not understanding the context of the times and cultures of that time. Not abantu bebe understand ngayiphi indlela. You know, so I think it's because of that. So what we say is we discuss with abafundi what we discuss in a break ukuthi abantu abashadile abahleli kabuhlungu emshadweni aba-abuzwayo mini nayizolo Who abanye they even think about committing suicide. You have no idea how many people abashadile who rather commit suicide than to divorce. So they fear a divorce so much. Now, we're not advocating for a divorce, but we are saying there are certain circumstances, there are certain things abantu abadila nazo where a divorce could be better. Like for example, I've been counseling ama couples. Counseling shi couple ngibona ukuthi yabona la if ibekuya ngokwami labantu abahlukana. I can't take a decision for them, but umubheka ukuthi lana kuzogcina kuphuma isidumbu la. The way things are, yabo, and for how long they've been dealing with these issues, and issues are not getting better, they're getting even worse. So we've buried sisters, we've buried cousins, we've buried even men. There are men abanamadumbe today, abanezifo ezithile, because bebeshade with impossible wives. But umfundisi uthe ayingabi khona divorce. So now as a shilo udoke khuluma ukuthi it's permitted, but it's not the law, it's not commanded, it's not something that once bekhona inkinga sigijimela kuyona. So we are not saying that, but we are saying there are circumstances, there are situations where divorce could save life.
Another thing uthi udokotela Elijah Maswanga encwadini yakhe uthi, I quote, uthi Africa is a zealous world, Europe is a taught world. Ngayamazi uqonda ukuthi thina la eAfrica singabantu nje bomsindo,
ama emotions.
Thina sifuna umsindo. Ngoba i-issue ye divorce ukube sinendlela yokuhlala phansi kanje sixoxe, hayi sime lapha epulpit sithi asidivorce la. Asikwenza ukuthi la, because awumnikeza umuntu iroom lokusondela azoxoxa nawe. Ngoba futhi ama accident awafani, ama incident awafani. Ukhona omunye wena ungathi wena awudivorce ngoba kusaphileka, usakwazi ukubekezela. Khona omunye ongathi mawushumana nje athi kadafa, ngoba ithuba lothi xoxwe kanje nalikho, sibhizi siyamemeza emapulpiti ifebe iphingi ngeze ubone umbuso kaNkuluNkulu, sisho yonke le nto le. Kanti masingathola ithuba hlale phansi sixoxe kanje njoba esho uBishop Fino, kwesikhathi mawuthi ukhanselisha abantu ubone nawe as a counsel ukuthi ayikho lento, kodwa I cannot take a decision ukuthi hlukanani, kodwa nje uyezwa na ukuthi lento kahle kahle ayisekho. Ngithi ke mina abazalwane bayasaba, abazalwane basaba, abazalwane ama hypocrites, abazalwane benza engazi ukuthi izinto ze right zibo zingekho right. Uthola ukuthi umfundisi uyoshumayela ade shaya unkosikazi,
baba siyayifaka
ade eshaya unkosikazi athathe iBhayibheli uyoshumayela. Ngoba lengane kuthiwa ishade nomfundisi ukuthi wayibeka.
Let me tell you a story. When I was studying, so we were different people from different countries, to America, everywhere. So there was this brother that I got to know. Now, this guy, I used to invite him at church. This guy will speak about his wife. He will take time, speak about his wife, and everybody was impressed at church. Until abazalwane beza kumina kutheni ungakhulumi kanjena ngoma
wakho,
something like that. But what happened, that guy, one day his wife disclosed to us that she is physically abused, verbally abused, and all other abuse. But when introduce her, you will be jealous. Even uhleli phansi unkosikazi uyothi I wish ukuthi umyeni wami enze kanje. So now we have all these fake things esizibeka phambi kwabantu, because I want to be known as a man who loves his wife, I want to do this blah 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 blah, and nenkosikazi ime phambili imbongeleke ubaba wakhona kwenze sina like Christian jargons let's sikhuluma phambili ama game enzekela until we address that ebandleni. Until abantu bafunde ukuthi you start by doing this at home. Yeah, you can do it phambili mufuna ukuyenza ke whatever, but make sure that you have practiced it at home and you have perfected it before you even speak about it up front there.
Yeah. Yazi ngivumelana nabafowethu wena Siba, but yazi ngifuna ukuyiqala. Yazi ukuthi uma ubheka ngifuna ukuya kulento ukuthi there are cases where divorce is permitted. Let me make an example for you. Ngesikhathi sika Israel ebuya from iBabylon, abanye babo they came back with the foreign wives. And uNkulunkulu, as a way of cleaning up Israel, he asked them to get rid of all the foreign wives. Yabo. Yes, God gave instruction. Ngoba they were impure because they were able to marry amakhosikazi ebezizwe. And kwa uNkulunkulu keep instruction for them to walk upright before him. They must get rid of those foreign wives. Yabo, I'm making an example. But ke Siba, ngiyafisa ukuthi having said that, yabona, sibe very clear ukuthi the fact that economic circumstances does not give permission for people to abuse.
Yes.
That permission.
Yeah, that permission must not make people to abuse. For example, it mustn't make ukuthi abazalwane bayuze lokho khona umuntu oshada unkosikazi wakhe for 30 years.
Yeah.
Athi ngoba nje usefuna ingane encane and get rid of the wife.
Yes. Yeah,
yabo ngoba eseyifunela ingane encane. Uyayibona lento leyo. And unkosikazi wakhe lo just get rid of it abese ngathi nje we fallen out of love. Yabona nani kanjalo. They use some jargons nani. We must understand ukuthi God knows every heart and he judges every heart. People abashadile ngenxa yezwi kaNkulunkulu, they need, especially abazalwane, they need to work hard on their marriage to make it to work. Yabo. They must trust God, they must believe God, they must do whatever it takes. But isiba sithi akhona ama circumstances ngisho usukwenze konke ozothola ukuthi nothing. Yabo. Someone was talking about even amadoda asha amakhosikazi awo. Yabo, which is true. Khona amakhosikazi ama evil. Yabona, Siba, I've been in the church for a long time. Yabo, I've been in this journey for a long time. There are people who are married, wishes. Yabo. Kona okunye ku worse than that. Yabo. Okunye ku worse than that. Yabo, abanye benza worse than that. Khona mfethu amadoda abhekiswa le athi akhuluma angebona ubaba endlini zabo. Angelutho. Manhood yabo was taken away long time ago. Remember ukuthi uma ukhuluma ngezwi laNkulunkulu namaJuda, it was a different culture. Where a woman, that is why kwakwamadoda that were abusing women. That permission. Ingakho uJesu azakhulume even nokuthi babenzani kwaIsrael through Moses mekhuluma ngobukhulu bezinhliziyo zabo. Usho ukuthi ngamanye amazwi they have their own will that they wanted to do, which was in contrary with God's intent. Yabo. That is why they were using it. Okay, you know what? Permit them if they want kodwa you must go through that process. Yabo. So what we are saying ukuthi abazalwa, God knows the heart. Uyazi uNkulunkulu if you have worked hard on your marriage and you've done your best, God knows. Uyazi futhi uNkulunkulu mehlukile. What I've seen ukuthi abazalwane they are very abanye by use the opportunity to get rid of their wives. Yabo. Ngoba nje sebe namanye ama desires. Abantu bese beyuza lento ukuthi I'm falling out of love. Yabo. Irreconcilable. But it is this way. Irreconcilable. Yabona zonke lezo zinto lezo. That must not happen in the house of God. If I'm saved, my wife is saved. My wife is abiding in the word. And I abide in the word. Akufanele sibe njalo. Ukuthi Siba, let me speak today about isociety esiphila kuyona. Ezinye ingane ezikholwayo ezisindisiwe ezikhuluma ngelimi ziluhlaza Siba. Ziluhlaza aziphekwanga. Because remember ukuthi kwaIsrael wawungeke uyiraise ngisho ivoice to your husband. Kwakuzoba ichilo ukuthi unkosikazi uraise ivoice to you. Yabon, ngoba they were obedient. They were obedient women. Yabo, they were listening, they were obedient. In fact, kwakhona isho mama abadala abakhuza omama abayanga how to respect their husband and how to work together with their husband. But in society esiphila kuyona, a lot of things has been violated. Yabo, because of that violation, yabo sikhumbule ukuthi because of that violation, I'm not saying it's a fault of a woman or it's a fault of a man. Ngithi mina ama-marriages ama-dynamics awafani. Kodwa la uthothi ubaba is a godly man, wenza zonke izinto according to umama inkinga. Kwesi sikhathi uthothi umama right, kodwa ubaba problem. Yabo. So what we are saying, in reality of the society esiphila kuyona, even in the church, yabo, kunamadoda adonswa nje amakhosikazi abo right up, right down, rapidly. Khona abantu mina ngeke ngibone lokuthi yazi uyaphuma in the will of God, kodwa edonswa unkosikazi. Bese ngithi for the sake of their marriage angibayekele nje bahambe kanjalo ngalendlela abahamba ngayo. We do need godly women in the church who are obedient, who love God, who fear God, who are wise, who knows how to be a wife to a man. Khona abantu mfowethu ekwangafanele bashade ngoba nje iyabehlula indaba yokuba nomunye umuntu. Ba so used ngoba remember ukuthi nendlela esikhuliswa ngayo iproblem. Khona abantu abakhuliswa by single parents, khona abantu abakhuliswa without discipline, without being molded, without being taught, of which it was a different culture in Israel ngoba wawufunda usemncane, ufundiswa to be a man, wawufunda usemncane to be a man. Ukuba unkosikazi wawugrunywa usemncane ukuthi how to be a wife. But the society sikuyona njengamanje has been messed up.
True.
Even in the church, by the way.
And bafundisi, ibandla, the church should be the institution yokusiza labo abazalwa noma abafowethu laba ababhekene nesimo se-divorce, because i-divorce njengamanje i-stigma.
Yes.
It's a stigma.
Yeah.
Uma
Yes.
nje udivozile ebandleni isho umfundisi, even isho abonje umuntu wesifazana uma idivozile eqhubeke khonza akakwazi ukukhuluma nomunye umuntu wesilisa bekhonza ndawonye
ngoba kuthiwa ufuna
amadoda abantu. So I think the church should be the institution la ezoletha khona ihope ebantwini.
Yes.
Siyeke ukuma phambi kwabantu sithuka abantu, siyeke ukuthi sithi siyakholwa thina asijoli, ushada kanjani ungajoli, siyakholwa thina asidivorce. Uyasazi isimo salomuntu ukuthi uzudivorce nje uyazi bekwenzakaleni, uyazi ukuthi uqale nini etuzama, uyalungisa, uyabekezela then wabonda kusebenza. So I think we must grow up. Ibandla kufanele lifike kwi stage of maturity, to be mature, ukuze sikwazi ukuhlukanisa ukuthi this topic sidinga ukudila ngayo njengabazalwane. Akuyona itopic yasepulpit le ukuthi ngoba ngibona nange kungene uMasibanibani wa divorce sengithola intshumayelo ngalokho. And iqiniso lithi uyazi ukuthi there are people abavele abone okungena uShezi athi hawu ngamthola uye lo khuluma indaba ze-rapt ngizoyikhuluma mina ngendlela yami, ngizomlungisa namhlanje. Uyayibona, it's not a right attitude ebandleni. So ke ngithi mina ebandleni we still need indlela ukuthi can we have a methodology to help one another as umzimba kaKristu siye kuhlekana
nokuthi doc siba ayingenzeki indaba yokuthi because mina owami umshado nowami unkosikazi is obedient right bese ngibe too hard kulabo ongekho right kubona ngoba esami isimo si right sisari right okwamanje. Uyayibona lonto leyo ngoba one of the challenges we have ukuthi ngibe harsh because uNkulunkulu ungenzela umusa. Izinto zami zaba in order. But there is a brother and a sister whose issues are not like mine. Uyabona ku different. So what normally we do, because of your situation, we build a strong doctrinal position based on the situation. That is why abanye imisishiji situation tomorrow bayihenga badla amaphilisi bazibulala ngoba useshawa izinto aseyikhulumile ngoba i-circumstance has changed. So ukuthi mina uNkulunkulu ungenzele umusa must not make it look down upon those that are going give insensitive. Let's use the word being insensitive to those that are going through hard time, because there are cases where we've counseled people asebe nenkinga yomshado wabo kuze kusengakusasa sibo and uzuphathwe ikhanda ubone ukuthi there is no moving forward. yabo and ngithi bakuphathwa mina ikhanda ngingangena nakulenkinga how much more bona beboswa khona abanye abantu bona sebe dangerous to each other yabona ngempela ba dangerous and isiba we must also understand ukuthi if the home the husband and wife they're not in good terms it affect the children. It traumatized the children. Do you know ukuthi khona ingane ezingagcina zithi it's better for my parents bube behlukane ngokuthi baloka belwa because every day ba experience trauma of the parenting that are fighting before them. Yabona. So the point that we are making yibona kufana nansiwa nomuntu onezingane ezi obedient ekhaya umzo sekhuluma ngeke ukuthi jabo ingane yomzalwane fanele nje ihambe straight then uthi ukhola kamnandi kanti manje beyisigebengu
yes
because there is no formula there is no formula mfethu enama results are guaranteed sikuhanjwa amasemina omshado kodwa still ubuilding umshado usekuzanyiwe yabona ngesinye isikhathi wena sibake kube namasemina okukhulisa izingane but still ingane zibe disobedient yabona ngoba konke siyikho it's by grace of God. Yabo it is God that is working our lives.
Yes ma'am.
Yeah, so Mangizo actually even Apostle Shezi and Doc is that there is a time and the moment where divorce can be a rescue.
Okay.
Before anybody commits suicide, before abantu babulala, before umuntu athatha igani adubule ingane adubule unkosikazi and everything, before lezo zinto zenzeka, you know.
Dlamini,
yes,
I agree with you. Ngifuna nje ukusho lento osho mfowethu ukuthi it is better ukuphuma uphila, yes uphume ungalimasa omunye umuntu ngoba uzo create isono esingenasidingo. Ngithi makungcono bakuthuka abantu
bakuthuke
njengoba thina ama Africans siyathukana uma idivozela umuntu uyathukwa anike zonke amagama. It's better kodwa ukuthi uphume ingane yabantu iphila na uphila kunokuthi uzuthatha isibhamu ubulale umuntu ongenacala ngenxa ukuthi nama differences. Uma kubona ukuthi ayisekho indlela ukuthi alungiswe but abantu akukho ukwehlula uJesu.
uJesu akahluleki
akukho
asisho ukuthi uyahluleka kodwa
usinikeze
i-choice
What do you say?
No, akahluleki.
Here's another thing. I think you are raising a point. You know, where my mind
goes. You know, bafuna uqala into yabazo bathini.
Ahluleki.
Ukuthi ayike into ehlula uJesu sothandaza. Abantu baye kuqabani yini
ikhipha leyo. Izosikhipa leyo baba.
No, ukuthi ngiyabezwa hey baba. We in the wrong level baba. Into ehlula uJesu.
No, let us be practical. Akufanele sibe spiritually lento engenasidingo. Lento esho nje manje ayihlukile nokuthi athi umzalwane ngilambile ngithi hamba ube nokuthula inkosi kubusisa uzosutha.
But let me put it simpler for you in another simple way. There's a positional truth and a practical truth.
Yes.
Positionally holy. Practically fault.
You may have some hearts.
Ulete sho umpostori. Ufunda base Corinth, 1 Corinthians chapter 1. Paul uyas introduce uthi Paul the apostle ngoba njalo ama introduce uqala azisho ngegama abese elandela ngelokhuza ngefunction asho athi mina obiziwe ngentando kaNkuluNkulu ubhalwe base Corinth abese ethi kuba bangcwele kuba bangcwele base Corinth ababiziweyo ngecebo lika iquestion yami ithi wabani abathi bangcwele
odesa abantu
obani abathi bangcwele
abantu abangayiphethe
laba afayakhulume kabi ngapha why because akababuki ngesimo sabo ubabuka ngeposition ukuthi iposition yabo noma bengafeba mabefeba bakhonza ithombe bakhonza ithombe kodwa iposition yabo bangcwele
babelala no baba abafana no baba namakhosikazi obaba
kodwa babiza ngabangcwele
kodwa abangcwele beba address kusho Paul
kuthiwa ufebo phathu kwenu akazekuzwe kwenye indawo kodwa mayiba address uthini uthi bazalwane leligama uthi bazalwane brethren adults abangcwele
ungenela manje uthina nje baba
abangcwele
asiphindele divorce baba
no abaqhubeka ngoba athukeni
asiphindele divorce
sikhona bathi sifuna ukuveza ukuthi khona izinto efanele sibe very careful ngazo ukuthi musu ukuthi umshado wakho usakuhambela kahle bese ucabanga ukuthi eyabanye abakholwa ngoba imshado abibhidlika. We don't judge people ngama circumstances, siba judge ngama position ukuthi she is still a child of God. Ukuthi nje udlula in a rough patch but
usamntwana kaNkulunkulu.
There's no doubt.
Udlula ethunzini.
Bafo, what I wanted to see now, which I think that it will help abalaleli ababukeli kahle, is to say, you said a point that people must do whatever they could do to rescue their marriage. So when things get zingahlangane, then we have to speak about now the process of how to go about divorce, which is, I think that thing I address wagele. So when people ba divorce, I've seen abafundisi bema ngabantu babakhosikazi abepulpiti bezama ubaveza nakedness, dirty laundries. So sibona wonke amahlazo abantu they've agreed about divorce. Ilo ufuna ibandla libe ngakuyena, nomunye ufuna ibandla ke, omunye ufuna izihlobo, ufuna abantu bangakuyena, Facebook babe ngakuyena. Abazana manje ba divorce ku Facebook manje. Uzwa ku Facebook ukuthi ubani uya divorce. So I think if we can be able to speak to the process ukuthi noma ke divorce ibhlungu ukuthi uNkulunkulu I hate divorce because it's painful, but how can we go about it in a decent way? There's a preacher that I know who spoke very out about his divorce, who's called Noel Jones. He speaks about his divorce. I've never heard him even once trying to tell us how bad his wife was. And I'm sure what his wife was not just a perfect angel woman, but he has chosen, he has saved a lot of lives by choosing ukuthi anga lento yokubhala ukuthi siyadivorce manje siyathukana, ubhala lento ku Facebook, omunye abhalele ku Facebook, kusabala ke yonke into. If we can have a process.
Bishop, ngicela ukubuza mina kunina abapostoli, sikho esanani isidingo sokuthi simemezele ngama pain ethu, ngoba kujwayelekile manje babadleni ukuthi umuntu bese divorce uyonika a long story ku Facebook, noma long story in some forum ukuthi we went through a long story. Where's the application? Why do you even talk about that?
Siba mina asiqale kanje, ahlamba sibuyele ku process. I think it will address your question. Mina siba ngiyakholwa ukuthi uma abantu abawu2 benama issues that they can't resolve, bamdinga umuntu wesithathu senior than born.
To intervene.
A godly man, but who's very balanced, that must take them through the process. Everything before it becomes a divorce, you do need someone. This is what I've seen. Yabo kuma couples amaningi. Umama akamthandi lo, uzwa kangcono ufini. Hayi ubaba uthi hayi ngcono uShezi. Engathi khona uzovuna omunye. Yabona. Kubalekile ukuthi every divorce before it becomes a divorce, abantu babe willing to be helped.
First.
To be helped first. Bangele kulo process to be helped. Nakhona remember ukuthi it doesn't matter we're going through pain, asingayikukholwa. Lobuzalwane. So mangithi asingayike ngisho ukuthi I must keep my heart pure while I'm going through the pain. Lonto izosiza ukuthi in our process makuthiwa cha Shezi urongi baba lungisa. uShezi azibheke alungise, angabe defensive, because God can see your heart. You can fool people but you can't fool God. Then kufanele sibe compliant into that process. Ake sithi ngempela siyabona ukuthi ayilungi. Sekufanele ukuthi nginike chance ukuthi nendobabili khulumani ukuthi how mani bona ukuthi ayisifike kancingetshe la ukuthi cha indlela aziphambane azihlukane bese nakhona have someone to counsel you during ukuhlukana. But because remember sibu ukuthi what you do umuhlukana lo muntu lo whatever you do, number one uzo affecting ngane zakho. Ngesikhathi enithukana ku Facebook, your children are the one who suffered the most. Number two, njengoba uthukana, there are people ozothi usumthukile uhusband or umthukile wife bese kudinga kodwa uyoba a part of that community. And isokusaba thina. Ngoba remember ukuthi i-pain exposes who you really are. During pain, that is why there are people that I know who have gone through divorce. Ati, listen, my wife We don't have to fight over children. Ingane zami sencane zithathe uzigade nje manje asibe ne-arrangement ukuthi sibezibeke kumina athi thatha umuzi ukuze ingane zami zingahlupheki thatha ukuthi uze zingahlupheki omnye athi inkosikazi shona ukuthi ufunani athethe ukuthi I will need this, I will need this, I will need this, ashare lokho and walk away with your heart being pure. Makubiza uthi uqala kabusha uqale kabusha kodwa khumbula ukuthi your heart is pure. Ngoba i-pain exposes who you really are during the pain. And let me tell you, even when you go through that process, uma ngabe you kept your heart pure, ingane zakho will celebrate you, will love you. Ngisho zingahlali nawe ngoba zibonile how you treated the mother or the father during the process of divorce. Kwazona azisafarishi kakhulu. Do you know how painful it is ingane sezofunda izinto ko Facebook ozibhale ngendoda nebandla usakaza izinto ebandleni usakaza izinto lapha. You're not helping anybody. Because phela uma uswenze njalo, who are you helping? Mase ngikumemezelileke lapho, how do I benefit from kukumemezela kwami? Yabo nokuthi ngikhulume kabi ngikumemeze kanje, how does that help me? Yabo, so that is why into inkinga esinayo mfowethu uSibu ukuthi le generation ayifuni ukukhanselishwa. Le generation abamfuni third party. They think they can do without a third party. Ozoba guide, ozobasiza, ozokwazi ukubathatha through the process. That's a problem. Amadoda ne-ego, they don't want anyone ozokhuluma. Omunye ufuna umuntu ozokhuluma into efuna uyena nomunye ufuna umuntu. That's how this generation is messed up. This generation. Yabo. So what we are saying, during that process ke Siba, khumbula ukuthi ingane that suffers the most. Kubalekile ukuthi niyenze in a civilized manner. There are, Siba, I must tell you, there are people who have divorced kodwa who maintain a very good relationship.
True.
While bedivorcile neingane, though ingane zi disappointed, kodwa ingane accept it because they are still talking. Umama no baba kwesisikhathi futhi ezinto ezithinta ingane makune function esikoleni, they still go. Noma beya separately kodwa they still go, both of them. Ngoba they still part of those children, irrespective of the divorce that they've gone through. We need to say ukuthi amaKristu akufanele ke ume go through it divorce kwenze ukuthi it leads to that bese beyenza in an ungodly manner. Le bisifana abantu abangakholwa. They must maintain ukukholwa kwabo even during the difficult time that they are going through.
Bengifuna ukuthi nxese Bishop, bengifuna ukuthi lento esho ubaba Shezi mighty ufuna ubuya kule process ngiqale kule godly manner ukuthi lithizwe lenkosi kukho konke uJobo kwamehlela kodwa konanga.
That's a powerful script.
I think we need to, as a Christian, we need to maintain that. Ukuthi noma abe kuthiwa ke sime ngibhekene naso sinzima kangakanani, but I must make sure ukuthi i-relationship yami noNkulunkulu is still okay. Ngoba manje lento uthi siyathukana ku Facebook sasa siyakubuka awusiba umzalwana kodwa usethuka ku Facebook kanje. But ke mhlambe umuntu nomuntu ne-anger yakhe wenza izinto ngendlela yakhe. Khona eloyishilo Bishop ye process ukuthi mhlambe kuzanywe i-process ukuthi uma abantu bezoya kwi-divorce kube mhlambe ne-process ethize abasizwa kuyona. Uyazi ukuthi leyo nto is very powerful. Kodwa I'm telling you kulamabandla kithi kungathiwa nje hayi kushuthi
sebevumele divorce
ikingileyo
yebo kanti lento is very iyenzeke bandla practical irrelevant siyayidinga lento ukuthi asibeni nendlela noma ne department emabandleni la kuzodilwa khona ngokuthi abantu abadlula ki divorce basizwa kanjani. Ngike ngabhala elinye iphepha esikoleni ngibhala human sexuality. I was breaking the silence about human sexuality. Sengibuza umbuzo othi should we bring condoms in the church? Emva kwecapha lapha masephunywe esontweni umuntu nomntana.
Hey, that's so scary.
No, ngithi Bishop,
he was writing a paper.
It was
a question.
It was a research paper. A question. No, it was a question.
It was a question.
Should we bring condoms in the church? I'm telling you, I did leadership training on that. Abefundisi babelwa nami. But no, ngeke sikwazi ukuyenza leyo. Ngithi mina the question is, my concern ukuthi nithi no.
Yeah.
What people are getting pregnant.
Yes.
Ingane ziyakhulelwa. Osho ukuthi they practice sex abanye bakho. Umuntu uyakwazi ukuya eclinic. Aqaza wathatha wafake ephakethini ama-condom.
Yes.
But esontweni asikwazi ukwenza lokho. Why? Because we still sisenenkinga yokuthi asikwazi ukuthi sihlale phansi sixoxe. Same thing applies ke le shop.
Lento iqalayo nje
mina ngikhalela ukukubuza. Scary leyo.
No,
it's scary, but it's a question. Because
singadluli
ngiza kulena-ke ethi uma sipreparisha abantu nge-issue ye-divorce kusasa bazomshaya bathi kusho ukuthi abantu wena encourage abantu ukuthi aba-divorce. I think we need somehow we need abazali ukuthi
yes.
I asked a question.
Yes.
There's a question I asked. I think one of the newspapers Cape Town. One of the newspapers in Cape Town misunderstood me. You know, I was addressing the issue when it comes to the issues of moral issues, like you ukhuluma. Ngeti, I was saying that we have to address the issue. Kunabafundisi abashumela against ama-condom.
Yeah.
Then I'm saying, but God will never ask, did you use a condom or what? So the issue is not a condom. You see?
It's an act.
So you see, you understand that? So kukona asiyeke leya.
Befundisa
asiyeke leya.
Asiyeke namhlanje.
Now let's come.
No. Imali.
Aske sizela divorce.
Nithidi.
No.
Kala mkhondom unala ma ex.
No ikondom
yeke.
Angisho ke mina ngisho ukuthi aphathwe esontweni.
It was a rhetorical question.
Yes.
It was
a thought-provoking.
Yes.
Something to think about.
Yes.
Not to say accept it.
On my research.
Iyajulukisa yona.
No iyajulukisa. Nami ngiyayisaba.
Ngishoko ngiyayisaba le. But
Lena ye process
uyayibuza. Ubunga
Ukuthi mina
suggest.
ngithi no phela imbuzo
bafo
kodwa ngizobeka imbuzo sekele iphendule la. Ngizophinda khona.
Sikhuluma nge-divorce.
Ngisazokwenza ukhuluma ngale question.
Babu Shezi, you are reminding me of a woman. Okay, there's a woman is a family friend. And this woman wrote something very powerful on Facebook about her ex-husband with this tomb. I think it was January, and said, this man, I want to salute my ex-husband. Since the time sa divorce, sa hlukana, he never even missed one day of first day of abantwana esikoleni. You know, he said he is there for provision, for whatever, he is there kubantwana bakhe. This woman was so proud abantwana babafana. He was so proud the way the ex-husband is engaging into the matters zabantwana. Remember, they've divorced already. So you see that. So it comes back to the issue lo okhuluma ngayo. Ukuthi if a process ihambeke kahle, then abantwana bahamba in the process bengconywana noma kubhlungu, but they can cope with life.
That's true.
And they can learn lesson in from the father. They can learn lesson isn't from the father. And looking at the mother, ukuthi umama kasebenzisa abantwana ukuze ashaye ubaba, because you have no idea how many women are using children in order to get back to their ex-husband.
Yeah, ama consequences alokho bishop ukuthi you don't understand the pain that you are causing on these children who are still young. Ngesikhathi ulwa ama battles akho with your husband, ngelinye ilanga fanele bashade. Ngelinye ilanga fanele bakhule. Ngesikhathi bebona the way you use them, some of these things, imagine if you have girl children. Yabo, ngesikhathi ulwa ngabo to fight your spouse. Le ingane fanele zikhule zibe prepared for marriage tomorrow. Akufanele if your marriage fail ubeka isithombe sengathi nezingane zakho uzofail because wakufailile.
Yes.
But ufanele ucreate i-environment yokuthi noma ufaililo wakho kodwa sibona ukuthi there's still beauty in marriage. Yabo, kubalekile ukuthi abantu for the sake of the children But what we found, ama couples are end up because of the pain that they're going through, but end up using ingane as a battleground. Yabon. But please think about the future of those children. And I wouldn't like the challenges that I have basis will affect my children's future. In terms of being in marriage, in terms of spouses, in terms of everything. Ngoba, I guarantee you, while when owakho has failed, but you can still create isithombe sihle enganeni about marriage in the future. You can still do, because parents have a responsibility. Ukuthi okwethu kufailile must not make. In fact, ingane zami fanele ngifundise ngokwami okufailile. Ukuthi bona ba avoid some of the mistakes that I've made. That's why I like the story that you are talking about, because that man takes responsibility. Uthi yena, I was traveling too much and live there alone. Akathathi blame inika yena. Uthathi blame and take it to himself and use it to teach others. Abe said, if I was given a chance again, I would have done it differently.
Truly, this man is better than Adam, because Pelu Adam that's true.
Before ngisathi papa uyena wayithathela what lo ithambula amathamba.
Yes.
Kodwa mase fathu basesebe twistana sithi nonkosikazi lo nginika yena.
Angithi ke lento ye process ke inhle like thenini. Kufanele iyenziwe process yokusiza abantu those people are going through divorce. Kube nendlela yokuthi ke si check ama scriptures angekho relevant asetshenziswa abantu. Like ikhona leli verse akaliquote uBishop Fino lithi I hate divorce. Fanele si check ukuthi it's figuratively.
What's the reason?
Or is literal. Wayenkulu wayekhuluma ngedivorce leyo kuhlukana komuntu wesilisa nowesifazana noma wayisho divorce yakhe noIsrael. Ngoba ngekuvela umephambi kwabantu kulayisonto divorce bazalwane. Hayi ukuthi akuyisonto awazi ukwakhulunywa ngani. So I think
indaba singalicheck.
Kwi process.
Indaba singalicheck.
No. I think ngizothishe bese yaqhubeka uDoc ngifuna umphazamisa. Kodwa phela siba khumbula ukuthi uNkulunkulu umethi I hate divorce ngisho kuthi ukhuluma noIsrael. Akusho ukuthi uyayithanda le yabantu. Ngoba remember phela ukuthi uma enza what you call it in lento le I don't know how to put it. Ukuthi angithi uthi umezibheka yena noIsrael bese bheka reflection abese bheka and the husband and the wife. Vele uma izonda ngala uyayizonda. It doesn't mean uyayikhondona ngala. Yabo. But uDoc usho ukuthi kodwa ngisho kuthiwa wenza that comparison. But kodwa you must have a context.
Context is very important.
Uyabona lento le. But siba it doesn't mean sisho ukuthi uma ngabe uyakhuluma noIsrael it means uyayithanda on the other side. No, vele ukwehlukana is a wrong thing. Ukwehlukana is a painful thing. Ukwehlukana into engekho right. Kodwa what we are saying, ama circumstances of the world that we are living in that is so imperfect. Kenzeka. Ungaqhubeka Doc ngoba ngiphazamise usasho ipoint.
Ngifuna ukuveza lokho ukuthi we must create a process. Sibe nalo umqondo ukuthi we need to silungise ama text asetshenzisiwe to abuse abantu. Ngoba sizothi silungisa iprocess still uma ama text asetshenziswayo ukulimaza abantu singakwazi ukwalungisa still
iprocess izoba iprocess damaged.
Yabo, so we need to correct ama text athathwe out of context, because there are many texts who are suffered interpretation.
As does God still love me? As I'm going through
that's very true.
That's very true. With me, am I still a child of God?
That's true. We need to address those issues. Yabona kubani. But let me add also, Siba, on top of about what they're talking about. Uguti, we also do need in the church some Christian trained psychologists. Yabo, abantu aba well trained in that area of assisting couples that are going through challenges. Yabon, because pastors might not have all the skills to help people. It doesn't mean if you're a pastor, it means you have all the answers. Sometimes as a pastor, there's a deficiency in other areas. But we are not graced the same. The fact that I'm a good teacher of the word, it does not make me a good counselor. We are born. So we should in our churches. Asinga ibalekeli manje before phela siba besimane sithi will pray for you. then all the answers will be there. Yabona kufana nansiba kufana nomuntu who's struggling financially. Masithi it will pray for you, then you will have money, your finances will improve. What about doing a financial literacy in the church? To have those families ukuthi bafunde how to budget, bafunde how to use money wisely, bafunde ukuthi how to spend money correctly. Because abanye abantu mengafundisiwe uzothola ukuthi unayo imali kodwa indlela ayispenda ngayo it's a problem. But uma usuhlale nomuntu ohlala phansi nawe akubonise kahle where do you spend, where you budget correctly over a period of time kungenzeka uthola ukuthi usuphumile einkingeni. Thina into esiwenza sokuthi ivesi lithi khipha koshumi once wakhipha koshumi izokwanda imali izokwanda. No siba, we need to change ngokuthi siqale manje silethe financial literacy kubantu bakithi. That's number 1. Number 2 ngoba sikhuluma ngendaba ye divorce, we do need people who are trained in our churches. Yabo abazokwazi ukuthi ba assist abantu who are going through that pain. We must make sure sibukuthi that pain, that process iyenzeka ngendlela ukuthi inga cause more damage in the family. Damage has already happened, but ingenzi far more damage ezohlala for generations. Masingakwazi ukuthi si-invest ukuthi sifone abantu aba-professional, abantu futhi ababazalwane abamazi uNkulunkulu balazi izwi likaNkulunkulu ukuthi bakwazi uku-assista ama-couples who are going through that hardship. Nabo abantu bavume ukulekelelwa nokusizwa during that process ukuze ikwazi ukuthi process ingabe harmful to children. Ngoba what we worried about abantwana aba-become ama-victims. Imagine if your children growing up sebenesithombe se-anger, sebenesithombe se-pain. Kuneyingane zabantombazane igcile zokuthi ayinto eyindoda nje into engayifuni ngoba I saw how mama was treated. Yabo, I don't want anything to do with marriage. I don't want. Ngoba we are building society, we are building communities. Kubalekile ukuthi sibe nama systems in place ale process uBishop Fino ekhuluma ngawo okwazi ukuthi sikwazi uku-assist ama families. If we don't have those things in place in our churches, yabo, sizoba ne problem enkulu. Nabazokhanselisha ingane ukuthi is understand ukuthi mom and dad is not because they hate each other, it's not because they don't love each other, but ama-circumstances ababona yabona makhona umuntu professional who's working with the children wenza ukuthi ingane zi-accept i-process ifane grieving ukuthi zi-accept i-process before makushona umuntu besithi nje singakhali njengabangenathemba yabona nje thina sisobe sicule yabona icule yonke lezinto ezikhulunywa lapho abantu they're grieving because there is no one ozokwazi ukukhanselisha abantu ukuthi mntanami khala ngoba ngesikhathi ukhala we are able to heal in that process. So thina njengabazalwane we need to do things differently. Yabona kulesikhathi
Apostle, the other issue that I think that is it's important that is normally neglected. So we've covered the couple process and then abantwana into the process. But also we have in-laws. In-laws can make things difficult. They can be hurt, can be broken. Usisi ubuye emshadweni, ingane yami njengomzali is losing unkosikazi, mhlawumbe uyamthanda unkosikazi, you know. So there's a grief that takes place even kuma in-laws themselves, which is I think that we don't need to leave them out. Even abazali. Khona abazali abanye wele high blood. Abanye baze bashone. Unyuka ushukela ushonele ngenxa uthene uxa kwethi ingane yakhe emshadweni ayihlalanga kahle and ingane yakhe iyabuya okanye sekuyesibili ngane ibuye emshadweni kanti ingane zami kwenze kanjani, you know. So you can say umshado it's not just only about
laba abawu2 nale family kunama extended family members
who get
abangathi babengahilanga bakhoze more harm.
If my sister divorces, you know, so it becomes a
ngeke ngidedele nganibuza ngalombuzo. Senichazile ukuthi i-divorce imbi. Futhi senichazile ukuthi kodwa ma engavoideki bazalwane ngeke siba prosecute sibathuka abantu bathukele baphuma.
No, asingathi imbi siba ngoba umlaleli lapha ekhaya uzothi siyamhlulela.
Sorry, ibhlungu. I-process ebhlungu.
Yes.
Ebhlungu kodwa mayiseyenzekile.
Yes.
Yini engcono ukuthi umuntu aphume ashiye unkosikazi kunokuthi amgcineke kunjalo a-add. Ngempela mase kuthiwa nje niyakhethiswa ukuthi nasi isimo ukuthi no isipha wawa ngeke sishiye amatshe amanye siwabona fela ngabayambiwe. I can see a couple of stones needs to be
suggesting a solution
to divorce. Ukuthi yini engcono uma umuntu nje manje ethi mfundisi ngempela nginesimo ukuthi kufanele ngikhethe yini ngempela nibona ukuthi ingcono
Wekhumbula story esatshelwa by ubani who's this that you normally
Apostle
Nxumalo.
Yes.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
When he spoke about an elder or a deacon.
Oh,
in
yeah,
the church.
I think I remember the story,
they had
right?
Problems nonkosikazi and oyisho kwekhumbula le.
No, ngifuna ukwazi mina ukuthi what is
Awukhumbuza yona.
No, ufaka mina kwa uyabuza.
Mina Dlamini, I would not recommend indaba yokueda uma umuntu umzalwane.
Okay.
Ngani ngoba our Christianity has been colonized by Eurocentric.
Yeah.
So, but from African perspective, there's no such thing called divorce.
They exist.
But it's in an African theological perspective.
Yeah.
There's no such thing called divorce.
Yeah.
Makukuthi siyahlulana, siyaxabana, sala lapho.
Yeah.
Ngoba wena waphuma kini wazogana walotsholo wangeleka wathela ngenyongo weza nebhokisi wathi uzofela le ekhaya. Angikwazi I can't send you away. Ngizokuyeka nje lapho ngiyofuna omunye unkosikazi.
Okay.
Yabo.
Yeah.
But ke sesihlukene nawe. Kodwa angenzanga ukuthi kuze kuyongenwa enkantolo manje yabo. So ke ngenxa ke ye-system of civil marriages ukuthi kufanele kube nencwadi njani sekuphoqa ke ngoba nathi njengamaKristu uzubona ukuthi singena nje sikhuluma ngendaba ye divorce awusukhuluma umshado. Uma eshada usiba uthi kuzona white wedding. Emveni kwalokho bese kuba ne traditional wedding. Yini traditional wedding? Yini traditional wedding?
Yeah.
Ngoba i-traditional wedding is your marriage.
Yeah.
I-white wedding, i-traditional wedding yase-west.
Of the West, yeah. So you've got you married 2 times.
Yeah. Ama-cultures awuthu wahlanza empilweni yakho.
Uyabona?
Yeah. Mina Siba bengifuna ukuthi khona ipoint elingiluzile ngizobuya kuleli lizolida to what you are talking about.
Yeah.
Elithi athi uyakhumbula ukuthi ngikhulume ngendaba ze-counseling nendaba zami khona into engiyishile zema-legalities.
Yes.
Lezi ama-assets ake ngenzele isibonelo Siba. In a Christian system everyone ushada in commute of property. Bese ngathi uma ngithi ngicela ukushada out of engathi isono angikholwa iplan ukuhlukana because ignorance ngoba bakhona khona la shada umuntu onezikweletu Siba obulala icredit ngigcine ngasakwazi ukuthenga. So those things Siba engakho ngithi this thing we must go deeper. Yabona whereby in terms of our even endaba okuhlukana ukuthi what does it mean in terms of assets. Siba yabona a godly man noma ngabe ushade in or out will never let your children and your wife suffer. A godly man yabona will never do that. Yabona you will make sure ngoba remember if your wife ezohlala fana bene shelter, remember those muntu you have spent years nalo muntu, you have built something together. Yabo this person ukuthi nje mhlambe senembono ephambanayo obonayo ukuthi inenza ningaqhubekeli phambili. Yabo kodwa it doesn't take away ukuthi lo muntu uyevoke journey nalo muntu lo. Yabona and nokuthi ingane zakho they are involved in that journey. Yabo lo muntu lo so whatever that the person has so le nto ukuthi isupersede imithetho le ye in and out. So kufanele ke sikhulume nangayi le ndaba yokushada in nokushada out ngoba kulesikhathi esiphila kusona umuntu ama asset and ukwi business iyafunakala ne out but because abantu bakithi abafundisile they interpret it wrong. Abazalwane asibuye lana kulento isho Siba I problem izoba la ekuthenini number 1 nizoba ne problem uma ngabona Siba vele siyalwa asiboni kokufana sixabene. Vele uyabona ukuthi noma bekuthiwa ke uzama ukusolve I problem ngokueda ngeke uyisolve ngoba it doesn't resolve lo ngaboni ngokufana.
Okay.
Uyabona let me make another scenario ukuthi another guy let me make another scenario. A young guy ngenje scenario a young guy get married and unkosikazi bese discover ukuthi unesifo esingalapheki mhlambe esimenza be disfigured. Ukuthi njengamanje there will be no sexual intercourse that will be able to take place. So something that you didn't plan. Yabona ngoba uma sishada asicheckana ukuthi manje wena unasifo sini yabo khona sama ngokholwa kuyenza omunye umuntu uthola unesifo esithile but akusho ukuthi uyashona siba that person can live as many years as possible kodwa while engasakwazi ukufunctiona.
So senze njani lapho kuleyo lento eqalayo
I was making
kuleyo nto nje ungenze njani no ngiyayisho isho ukuthi umama mhlamba akasakwazi ukusebenza kahle noma nobaba la unesimane akusasebenze kahle in that case wenze njani?
No, that's what it is. That is where number one there is no way ukuthi ungamlahla umuntu because ngoba nithe manenza ama vows nathi ebubini nasebuhleni
izinhluwaniswa kufa
nozenhluwaniswa yini
kodwa kushone naye uNkulunkulu leyo nto ngithi
besides
it's not
biblical but it's a commitment that you make yabona that you can't break. I can't take you then if calamity comes on you then I get rid of you and run away. But into yenziwa kwaZulu ake sibuyele kwi-African culture. In African culture nayikwazi ama families ukuthi ufunelwe ubuntu ozolekelela.
Ngiyayizwa isho.
Uyezwa lento engisho. Kwakwenziwa njalo.
Hayi kodwa la kaJesu. Ngeke phela la kaJesu siyenze.
Okay, ukuthi i-problem okwamanje that I don't want to deal with indaba ye westernization and the Bible. Because unfortunately there is a clash. So ikhuluma ngelinye ilanga.
True.
In fact you'd be so shocked ukuthi i-Jewish culture where Christians come from is very close to an African culture. In fact you'll be so shocked.
Ngathi Dlaba ngikhuluma ngathi there's no such thing called African philosophy. Ngoba i-philosophy yase-Africa kodwa singasho ukuthi i-Western philosophy. Kodwa ngoba yantshontwa yathathwa base beyibuyisa ngakithi engazuthi sesithola kubona.
Yes kahle siba i-challenge sabanayo when we receive the gospel. Remember ukuthi i-gospel iqale Middle East yabe sispreada in the Northern Africa enye yaya towards the west. Ithe isiza kuthina isiyama missionaries ayisaphumi directly from the Jews.
1652
yes
6 April 1652
yes yabona manje siqhamuka ko Netherlands yabo i-Dutch on the top ayisaphumi from the Jews where the Christians come from.
Is it
diluted? Isine colonization. Isinezinto ezedwa, isine agenda ebizwa ngokuthi it's biblical. Uma singacheka the real Bible, you'll be shocked. True. Ngoba the most of the things kahle into esikhuluma kakhulu especially in African church is just the westernization. It's not the Bible, it's not the word of God. Kungcono ke noma kuthiwa ke siyalahleka ngokwe culture kungcono siye kumaJuda. Not go to this lahlekele west. Phela remember ukuthi ama west ama pagans nokuthi i-gospel did not start from them.
Nokuthi siba uNkulunkulu esasigcinile siyolikhuluma iqiniso ukuthi laba ababegqilazwe eGibhithe obani laba abegqilazwe esifuna beBhayibhelini uthi obani
uyabona leyo ke
leyo ke ngisazoyibuyela ngisathandaza kufanele ethwana
sizoyichaza ngoba uma uthi uyalifunda iBhayibheli linezinto manje ezifana kakhulu nezase-Afrika kodwa manje kukhulunywa ngabanye abantu.
That's very true.
Kodwa la besibabona manje phesheya ababona bala Africa mawubabuka.
Phela mfowethu ngisho kuvezwe isithombe sikaJesu uJesu wayengenjeyo la mfowethu. Lo guy lo blue eyes.
Ona blue eyes uJesu with the beard.
Nentshebele
the beard.
Balinde loyo ukuthi uyabuya lo
ngathi
ethombeni.
Zihlile ezigold. Those golden hair.
He's nice looking dude.
The original Jews
very nice
and the Jews who came through join the religion.
Balindela lokho oseyithombeni.
Ngabe bekanishaya ngamahle namhlanje. Shothi abakwazi ukushaya.
The point you are making the point you are making ukuthi yela uNkulunkulu mesiphumusa siyokwazi to unpack what is Western, which is a practice in the church, yabona, versus what is Jewish, where it comes, where inkolo iphuma khona, yabona.
Nombuzo ofanele suraise ngoba kune answer kodwa umbuzo asiwazi. Othi Jesus is the answer. What was the question?
What was the question?
uzuthi Jesus the answer. What was the question?
What was the question?
Asikwazi khama sesithi uJesu impendulo. Bekade
umbuzo wawini.
Another reason why Africans why Africans all the time when we try to preach the gospel bathi siza nezinto ezivelenhla uthi ile uJesu wabelungu. This is how our indigenous people, when they look at us preaching the gospel, babona siphethe isilungu.
Ingendlela uJesu ama-missionaries amlethe ngayo. Bampenda. Kahle kahle basinika isinkwa eplastikini.
Eplastikini, yes, yeah.
Angithi manje thina ke la sekufanele ijob efanele senze enkulu ukususa iplastiki.
Yes.
Bese sishisa isinkwa. Unfortunately, kwi-generation esiphuma kuyona wawungabulawa nokubulawa umuthi ukhipha
plastic kanjani uyithimoni
uthi ukona yabona so kusafanele sidile nalezo zinto
yabo nje bengichitha nombala kaJesu lento enishoyo hayi umbala kusiwona lo sobona ithombeni
uye ke
lo says phela nalapha bezenze izithombe omunye lapha
lo sethombe
okay omunye sethombe
uye ke lo
khona no gay
ethombe ngambona
uye ke lo bamlwelayo ke bathi uyabuka
lo sesithombe the one with the
kodwa mina even usho Adam ithi nase idini he had a voice kaNkulunkulu. He never saw God. He had a voice because God is a spirit.
Yeah.
When ubengenalo iBhayibheli
athu Jesu zami izimvu ziyaliswa. Even uMary uJesu evuka ethuneni, she failed to recognize him. Ngoba akekho ongambona,
but the voice made a
difference can be heard.
Yeah.
So in closure, the issue of divorce is very sensitive, controversial, but it's affecting amakholwa.
Yeah.
And if kuguti we don't sit down, sibe honest, nge-issue of divorce, sisazoba nenkinga. Njengoba sikhuluma nje manje khona abahleli intshumayelo abasawushaya ko Facebook.
Sunday, yeah.
Ngoba sithi thina divorce is not a command.
Yeah.
But it's permissible.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that is true. That is true. But asishutanda ba divorce, but sithi ungahlali uzwa ukuthi kuyashisa.
Yeah, akusahlali.
Akusahlaleki. Ngoba uzogcina ungamkhozi kahle uNkulunkulu. Khona makuhlale kahlala.
Yeah.
Beke sele hlala njengentombi.
Kodwa mangasahlaleki. Bishop Fino.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bafo. Let me thank Doc and also Apostle. So as we have made it clear, ukuthi divorce is not the original will of God, but things happen because the same emhlabeni, as Apostle says, that imperfect people, as they get married, then things can happen. So we're saying to you, ohlele ekhaya, if ubona ukuthi usuze I've cancelled people abadla ama antidepressants. You speak to a man, uyashake kanje like this, udla amapilisi, and women, but it's very terrible, you know, the things that people are going through, and then all of a sudden we say you shall not divorce and all of this. I want to say that God may hate divorce, but God still loves people about divorceile. So if usemshadweni wesibili or whatever, uNkulunkulu akagcine lapho, but understand you don't need to live kulo mshado guilty, because as a preacher I was bombarding you, telling you that divorce is what?
There is a perfect will and a permissive will. There is a divine blessing in living in a perfect will. But it doesn't mean if perfect will in your life cannot be achieved, it means you are condemned. But we must all strive to live in the perfect will of God. Yabo. Asisebenzeni kanzima. Siyazi ukuthi khona la kungeke kwenzeke, kodwa that must not make us ukuthi sisheshe si-accept and settle for less.
Yeah.
We need to strive. Umbuso kaNkulunkulu vele uyafuna ukuthi ulwele. Kodwa there will be circumstances that might bring hindrance, but that must not make you to be condemned. Don't also compare yourself with others. Ngoba abanye they are operating in a perfect will, and when izinto zakhe zenze kanjalo bese uzibone ngathi you are sub less than bona. uyabona wena nje iba ne good relationship with God, work with God, allow God to work in you, uyabona qhubeke noNkulunkulu.
This is Power Hour. Bazalwane, thank you so much for coming. It's been a very long broadcast. A lot have been said. I think a lot of new topics azaliwe. And then I believe as the church, we have to address. Siyamthemba uNkulunkulu uzosipha ithuba sibuye siwa unpack lama topics because inhloso is not to divide the body, but it's to ukuthi ibody ihlangane. And secondly, singadavuzi nje ngeinformation engenasidingo, because if you check most of the scriptures as divided, most of them are incorrectly interpreted, and we've divided the church for a very, very long time. So the purpose of the Power Hour, as you know, we want to unite and also give abazalwane bethu information correct, so that when they argue get the accurate. So thank you so much for spending time with us. It was really a nice broadcast. I'm looking forward to having you again. Amache inkinga yenu nginitshelile before ngenwe konke ningishilo nikusho ngendlela zenu. So thank you so much, soon. So to our viewers, thank you so much, guys, for the support. Thank you for tuning in. Zweli nina konke okukhulunyiwe. Sesiyolala manje, guys. Thank you to the 760 crew for making this broadcast a success. Our sponsors, thank you for your never-ending support and believing in our vision. Siyabonga kakhulu uNkulunkulu anibusise nonke ke, and good night.